Okay, so in this video, I want to give you a really quick introduction to Roger Hamilton's wealth dynamics profile. It's based upon the Myers Briggs, though Roger actually took it back to the Chinese I Ching. And what we're doing is we're working with two dimensions. We work with the dimension of intuition and sensing, and introversion, extroversion. So the two dimensions. Then we draw a square and we get 8 personality types. So here we start with the creator, high intuitor, very much in innovation. And if we say take the introverted creator, we get someone like Bill Gates. So Bill Gates creates Microsoft operating system. We also get someone, say, like Henry Ford, who created the Ford motor vehicle. And then what happens is we move across to here, we get someone who's more introverted, and we get the mechanic personality type. So this is like the Japanese who took the motor vehicle and they improved upon it. So after about, 80 years or something or other, the Ford motor vehicle really hadn't improved that much, but the Japanese motor vehicles had. So the mechanics are really good. We're working with processes and systems and improving upon things, very detail oriented. And then so that's the introverted creator, say Bill Gates, Henry Ford. We go across to here and we get the extroverted creator, which is like Richard Branson. So Richard Branson, he actually works with bigger chunks, and he actually builds businesses. So you have Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, etc., etc. But let's just go back over here to introversion. So we get the guy who creates the motor vehicle, the mechanic improves upon it, and then we go down here where we get a balance between intuition and sensing, and we get the Lord. And so the Lord just buys up a fleet of motor vehicles and leases them out. So the Lord didn't actually create it, they didn't improve upon it. All they do is they sit in the background and buy a fleet of motor vehicles and lease them out. Or it could be like the landlord who buys property. The landlord doesn't actually build the property, doesn't develop it, doesn't build it. They just actually in the background, they buy the property and they rent it out. And you may never even eat the landlord because they actually get a property manager to do that process for them. So now we come down to sensing. So people are really sensory detailed, very much grounded, very much in the present, and an introvert, and we get the accumulator. So the accumulator says like Warren Buffett, and what Warren Buffett does, he didn't actually create the motor vehicle, didn't improve upon it, he doesn't have anything to do with, leasing vehicles and fleets. What he does, he just invests in the company. He's an investor. And so the accumulator gathers a lot of information before they take action. So what Warren Buffett did, his strategy for making money on the share market was just to start at A, work very procedurally, go all the way through, gather all the information he could, and then making a decision. So accumulators are slow to action, but when they do take action, they're very confident. A surgeon's also an accumulator. A good surgeon will be an accumulator. They gather a lot of information, do a lot of training before they actually make the incision. Now, Warren Buffett, he actually went to Toastmasters not because he wanted to gain confidence in public speaking, but because he wanted to be able to speak even while his knees were trembling. So let's go back up to here. Introverted creator like Bill Gates, extroverted creator like Richard Branson, a people person. And then we go across to here to the star. So now we have extroversion over here. We have high intuitor, extroverted, and we get someone like Oprah Winfrey. So she didn't actually create the business that she's actually in. She's just out the front, in the chair, lights shining on her, very embracing, very welcoming. So, and that's her talent. And after about 25 years, as being a talk show host, when she did create her own business, it didn't do well. It was like for about a year, I think it almost failed until she brought other people in. She brought other people in who were good at actually building a business, and they actually got it running for her. So it's a star. And then we come down to here, and we have a balance between intuition and sensing. People person, we get the supporter. And the supporter likes working with people. So, for example, I was talking to a travel agent the other day, 25 years as a travel agent, a people person. She's actually working with people, helping people make really good decisions, taking care of people. It could also be a team leader. A really good team leader would be the supporter personality type. Now, we go over here to our mechanic. Our mechanic, they also might have a team where they're developing their product, but their focus is on the product, on the thing. And they will actually get rid of the people, but keep their focus on the product. Whereas over here, the supporter will tend to get rid of the product and keep the team. And then we come down here to the deal maker, and we get someone who's very much a people person, very much sensory-based, grounded, and we get someone like Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump is the sort of guy who can bring $1 billion project to completion ahead of schedule and under budget. And he's good at doing this because he's really good. He has really good people skills. He's able to get trust with whole groups of different people to get them to work together. That's his talent. Now, the downside of the deal maker, say with Donald Trump, is that he speaks his mind, which could be a downside, it could be an upside, but he just extroverts his thoughts. Whereas someone like Warren Buffett, the introvert, they actually think. They take time to think before they talk. Whereas the extrovert will just talk their thoughts out aloud. So in one respect, you could say, like the deal maker, like Donald Trump, he's not going to lie because he just says what's on his mind. And then what he does, if he makes a boo-boo, he just goes on. He talks a bit more to fix it up until he actually gets the deal organised. Whereas this person over here, like Warren Buffett, he will gather a lot of information before he actually approaches people and does the deal. And then, whereas the deal maker's quite open to having conversations and just doing a deal, arranging a deal, which suits everyone in the project, the accumulator, more like Warren Buffett, as I've heard, he studies the stock market, he creates in his mind the deal, he then goes to the company and says, I'm going to buy your company up for, X billion dollars or something or other, and you have to sell it to me for this price. So there's a contrast there between the introvert and the extrovert. So then we're coming around here into the middle to the trader. Then what we have here, you have the introverted trader, extroverted trader. So the extroverted trader is not really quite like the deal maker like Donald Trump, but they still work with people. So it could be the grocery store general manager. So they're working with people. They're still doing the trading and the buying low and selling high. But the traders also the people who work in hospitality, people who work in hospitals, say like the ambulance operators, those types of people. They're very sensory based, taking care of people, taking care of others. Whereas the creator, the intuitor, they're taking care of ideas. They're thinking up ideas. The creator's very future-oriented, very quick to action, whereas the trader's very much in the present, and the accumulator is more in the past. They're gathering information. The trader's going to be more procedural in how they approach things, whereas the intuitor, the creator, is going to be more options oriented. And these guys like to start projects, have difficulty in completing them, so they start a project, but then they need to outsource it to others to help complete the project. Whereas guys down here have difficulty in actually starting a project, because that's not where their talent actually is. Their talent is timing. Their talent is timing. And so we look at the introverted creator, and this is like the share trader, and say the Forex trader, the currency trader, and their interest is in systems and things. The accumulator will pay more attention to fundamentals, whereas the trader will actually take that into consideration, but more into the analytics and the systems. So each of us has a personality type. And this personality type is our genius. Now, often at school, we were told, okay, Johnny, you're really good at that. Now work on your weaknesses, which doesn't really support what the person's really good at. But really, all you need to do is just identify what your personality type actually is, and then just team up with other people who have different personality types. So the trader, the currency trader, the Forex trader. So what you do is you identify what your personality type is. Then with NLP, we're able to look at your personality type, and we're able to map out the finer distinctions, which we call meta programs. So meta programs are perceptual filters which you have in mind. Sometimes they work at the level of the unconscious mind, sometimes they're actually quite conscious. But these meta programs filter, and they determine how we actually think. So, for example, a person could be focused on the negative, they can be focused on the positive. A person could be think globally, big picture person, or they can be very much details. They can be like options, they might like options just to keep changing their mind all the time, or they could be very procedural and like to work through things sequentially. So with NLP, we can also map out those sub-distinctions. And so with each personality type, there's a whole cluster of meta programs. Now, the wealth dynamics profile, it's pretty rough, really, because they've just taken two dimensions and put them against each other. It's pretty rough, but it actually works in terms of your genius and your personality type for wealth creation. So if you're interested, what I suggest you do is you actually follow the link below, go to my webpage, read up a bit more on the profile system, and then take the test, and then just see where you actually fit. Now, recently I've been working with a lot of traders, and it's really interesting because one of the guys who's actually who's actually created a trading room, a trading organization, he's actually a little bit up here. So he's got that ability to create. He's also a really excellent trader. And yet there's another woman, she's a really good trader too, but she's actually a mechanic profile. And so she's really good with systems and things. And then there's another person, their profile's right down here. So you can still be a really good trader, even if you don't have the exact trader profile. But the way that you trade will be slightly different to others. And so it's really important to be able to map out your meta programs, map out your personality type, and then just learn to do what you need to do in order for yourself to trade really well. So, if you've got any questions, feel free to go to my website, abbyeagle.com, send me an email. If you want to hook up on Skype, I'm really happy to do that. And thank you for listening.